present.
Nice to meet you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's an honor.
Mr. The
It's
Edge.
an absolute honor. It's a dream. Nice to meet you. How's it going, sir? Thank you for joining us on the show. Are we doing that as well? Oh, that's a millennial thing. All right. So, independent India has been around for 73 years.
Right.
You guys have been around for 43 years.
Wow.
The Joshua Tree album's been around for 32 years. What took you so long to come to India?
Wow. I wish there was an easy answer to that. We have been very excited about the prospect of playing India. And it always seems to be some stupid logistical problem that has stopped us in the past.
Okay.
But we just made it a priority on this tour that we really wanted to make it to India. And so we're so happy, so excited that we're finally getting to play India.
We weren't sure that we had an audience.
You have, trust me, there are millions and millions of people who are jealous of me sitting right in front of you. So you definitely have a big, big audience out there.
But you're very kind to say so. But what I mean is we don't want to presume that.
Okay.
Because you have such extraordinary diversity in your own homegrown music and culture that, we come from a little tiny island. We think we speak English better than the English, but we are Irish. And
There are more English-speaking people in India than there are in all of the other world.
That's incredible. I
he's
didn't know
good
that.
with data and statistics. Watch him.
That is amazing.
Watch him. But honestly, it's going to be a great thrill to find out what our Indian audience look like. But it's a very big deal for us. And again, we've never come because we wanted it to be real.
Absolutely.
If you know what I mean. We wanted to bring the same production that we bring everywhere else in the world, and we were worried about ticket costs and all boring stuff. But we kept thinking the next tour will be the one, and then it wasn't, and it's taken us a while.
And now
but
it
we
is.
arrive, pilgrims, at your door.
Absolutely, and we're only happier for it. You said you're very thrilled to perform in India. I just want to jog your memory down and say, has there been a time where you've been so overwhelmed by the audience that you actually cried on stage?
I think the one thing that people don't understand about U2 performing live is as much as the audience gets moved by the songs, we do as well. So I would not say it's every show, but quite often it's like this emotional power will overwhelm me. And I think it's largely this combination of the song and the audience's reaction to the song. It's that community moment that happens. It's powerful.
I'm very just in touch with his feelings. Shock.
But
And that's rather good. Very encouraging. Yeah, it is overwhelming. And what Edge says is true. I've heard that people say that when we walk on stage, the four of us, that they have involuntary hairs on the back of their neck. And what they don't realize is that we have. And it's something to do with chemistry. Because I know it doesn't happen when I walk out on stage, as I've done on my own on many occasions. And I mean, I know people appreciate what we do, or sometimes Edge and myself will do something together. There's a very special chemistry between the four members of U2. And it's sort of a defiant thing that we've stayed together. And defiance is the essence of romance, is it not?
that is lovely and very profound as well. I mean, what do I say? You guys never had a fight in 43 years? Never thought of disbanding or
Oh,
something?
no, we've had fights.
So how do you all go through that?
I just want to suggest, never pick a fight with a man who earns his living by hand-to-eye coordination. That dude has a very fast left hook. And
I think early days, the disagreements sometimes got boiled over. These days, we argue and we're passionate about our music.
Absolutely.
And so we all individually care deeply, and there's often disagreements, but we grew up as friends, and we grew up in this band. So those relationships are strong enough to withstand
Family.
those disagreements. Yeah, it is much more like family, and because of that kind of deep relationship that we have with each other, also we have to sometimes say things that are kind of challenging for each other.
What's the worst you've said to Bono?
I think it was personal hygiene.
I don't think we. You know, I can't remember, to be honest. Nothing springs
Can
to
I
mind.
Speak? I think it might have been another one. It was terrible.
But
I found that hard to get by.
But it's mostly what we end up fighting over is the songs, and as they're coming into focus, it's like it's a lot of this happened in this building. The last two records,
The legendary place found by Jimi Hendrix. Is there a method to the magic that you have? Your creative process? How would you describe that? Because you all have evolved over years, and what is the method to the magic? Everyone wants to know the secret.
It's very interesting.
It's
There is
mysterious.
something about chemistry, as we spoke about it earlier, but I think our collective ego is significant and serious,
Okay.
but we have learned to sublimate our personal egos to the project that is U2, or the songs, or the album, mostly. So generally an idea or a song or a lyric gets discussed based on its merit rather than who came up with it.
Absolutely fair point. And
Yeah.
is that what keeps you motivated even after so many years to go back, lugging it out daily, in and out? Physically, it must be taxing. What motivates you?
I think I've got the best job in the world, to be honest, because I get to do what I love to do. I get to do what I love to do with my friends, and also climbing on stage, playing our songs to the U2 audience is an incredible buzz.
Just for now, can I say I have the best job on earth because you guys don't get to interview you two. I get to do that.
Well, that's a very kind thing. I'm thrilled that, because you have been very generous in our direction, and we really appreciate it. And we have to earn that love and respect with our Indian audience. We know we haven't put the time in. Here in the US, we've played in small clubs and in theaters and arenas, and just a factor of economics, we didn't get to India to do that. We did it in Europe, we did it in the UK. So we can't presume that to have that love and affection. But if India opens its heart and arms to us, we certainly will give it everything that we have on that night, and that is the way we go into it with U2. It's not, and it's our drug of choice, if you like, is that we want it to be the best night of everyone's life, which is a dreadful thing to wake up to on the morning of a show in Birmingham, Alabama, or some place, nameless place. But that's the way we feel wherever we are, and we have to. And it was a pledge we made to each other as teenagers when we formed, was that every night is like it's our last night. And it turns out in Mumbai, it is the last night of our tour. We have no plans to tour after that. I hope we do tour after that, but we have no plans to. So there's a lot going on in this show.
You know, the fact that you said it's last night, it would create a big hole in the audience's mind as well. But how big a hole would it be for y'all? Because touring has been an incredible part of your lives.
Well, I don't envisage this being the last time we play together or anything like that, but there's no doubt that touring is really where our band became a band. You know, it was in front of a live audience that we learned how to play our instruments.
Yep.
It was in front of a live audience that we understood what a good song was versus a not good song. So it's such a crucial part of the band's identity and history. So yeah, we
Okay,
come
there's-
alive in front of an audience.
There's more
What is
coming.
your audience? Tell us about your audience, people who are watching. Who are they?
The people who are watching are the guys who watch Business News Channel from Monday to Friday. But over the weekends, they switch on their stereos and play U2. That's what they do. And honestly, you talk about business, etc. Let's do a detour with that. And you said India's going to be generous to you. Let me get you a personal present for you. I've got it for you. It's a rare thing. And I'm a Steve Jobs devotee. I know you're a good friend, were a good friend of his.
Yes.
And these are socks with Steve Jobs printed on him.
Look at
So-
that. And that's funny because we do share socks.
Oh, you do share socks. I have another pair which I'm wearing right now, so in case.
That's very,
This is something that Steve
great.
Jobs wouldn't be caught dead wearing because they got the
Well-
Apple logo wrong on it.
Right.
But
yeah, he
That's
would not.
brilliant.
I will show you. I have. I thought I had my red phone.
You can keep that. That's yours.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
that
look
is
after
yours.
your sock.
That-
Would you look after me?
I'll guard it with my life.
Tell me a
You
little
know, my
about.
father used to give me socks. That was my birthday present. For
Right.
years. It scarred me. But thank you. I'll hold.
Tell me a little about Steve Jobs. I'm a Steve Jobs devotee.
So,
Fine.
Steve Jobs helped develop the concept of Red. So Red is a company that I co-founded
Yep.
to help pay for AIDS drugs for people who can't afford them. And we have many, there are Red products that, you know, part of the profit goes to pay for those AIDS drugs. And Steve would always say when I got complicated, just tell me what's at the center of this. These people get these pills and they stay alive. They don't get them and they die. That's simple. Can we keep it simple? And I'd say, I'll try. And every time we would wander off from that, he'd just keep coming back. Why are we doing this? And I said, to get the pills to the people so they stay alive. And you go, that's it. Bono.
Does that influence
I'm in.
your music as well? Did Steve's focus and simplicity reflect in some of your music as well?
I think a great song is a mysterious thing, but often, once it's come to be, it sounds like it's always been there. And the best songs, ironically, I think are pretty straightforward and quite simple. But that's not to say it's easy to get to those great songs.
So simple and easy are different concepts.
Yes.
A couple of things about Steve Jobs. Yes, he was very tough-minded and could be tough on people in an argument, but he was also very tender. And there was times, I think, when I had some health issues,
Yep.
and he sent me a box of books and DVDs, all with handwritten notes on all of them, honey from his garden, his own garden, written on that. So he could be extremely tender. And then, you know, towards the last days of his life, I visited with him, and he you know, had a wonderful exchange, and I was never to see him again physically, but he called me, and I was like, what's Steve calling about? And he called and he said, I don't think you looked great. He said, you need to look after your health. This is, literally, he's dying, and he was concerned about my health. So these caricatures of Steve being a, you know, this very sort of self-centered character, it's not true. And then he took a risk with Red, and millions of dollars, I mean hundreds of millions of dollars has been raised to fight AIDS through Red, which he helped figure out. And then the U2 iPod.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And all of that, so we love him.
This is a lot of memory and nostalgia. But, you know, can I make a request? Whenever you meet Joni Ive next, you'll set up a meeting with him, because when you say you can drink his bathwater, I'd say make that too.
Johnny is a very special designer, and he continues to work with Apple, but now he has his own company called Love From. And so Love From Johnny, it's great. And yeah, he and Mark Newson are my two favorite designers in the world.
I would
Probably yours too.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's get back to you two then. So, you know, I was going through a lot of lists, etc. The interesting part about you two is that you guys, as solo performers, or, you know, the world's best guitar solos, the world's best rock songs, the world's best drum parts, they don't feature in the top 10. But when it comes to the number of awards, you guys have the most. When it comes to the number of hits, you have the most. When it comes to the number of concerts, yours are the most attended. So that's telling you that the synergies of the band are much more than the individual people. From your perspective, what is it that, you know, y'all think y'all have that audience likes so much?
Well, I think we are a real band, in the sense that you think of a band as like a street gang, you know, a bunch of guys that got together and decided to be united in a mission, and that's certainly true of our band. But most groups, unfortunately, end up infighting and being rivals, and they end up being just a bunch of individuals that happen to work together. A lot of times, A lot of times guys from the same band will not speak to each other. They will just go on stage, do their show, and then disappear off. So we are, I think, of the successful bands that have been around for a long time, we're probably the one that exemplifies what a real band should be. And it's about mutual respect and understanding of the fact that we all need each other. That as solo artists, we would survive, but when we're together, there's something much more interesting happening. And that synergy, the combination of the individuals becoming, the band is greater than the sum of the parts is very true for us.
That's interesting, and that's also the stable, strong family foundations that you have. The time you tour India, I'd be a married man by then. You have
Really?
been dating your
Congrats.
to-be wife since the same week as the band was formed. What's the secret to a successful marriage?
Oh, yeah, I joined U2 the same week. I asked Ali out.
Yeah.
It was a really great week. And, both of them have been a challenge to me to sublimate my ego and my natural selfishness. And both entities have been extremely patient with me. And, I'm sort of the adolescent of the group. And, I'm still growing. And I think giving each other room to grow is really good. I think Ali's been really good at that. And she and my daughters have taught me a lot about respect for women. And you might have heard me or other men put their partners on a pedestal. And my wife Ali would say to me, "Don't look up at me. Don't look down at me. Look across to me. That's where I am." And so I learned that relationship. My daughters, the same. And that's, I think, I guess you could call them sort of horizontal relationships. And I have them in the band. We are equal. And some people prefer vertical relationships. They like to have a boss or be a boss.
Right.
I don't.
That's phenomenal. You guys have been the good guys of the rock and roll world. So many years, not a single scandal. You've been together.
We could
Yeah, so
start one.
you guys have been rebellious by being non-rebellious.
Thank you.
How do you do that? Was it a
That's a-
conscious decision?
I think that's a good observation. I think what we were allergic to was cliches, and the sort of the hedonistic rock and roll cliche just didn't interest us. That's not to say that we're not prepared to be open-minded when it comes to exploring opportunities and lifestyle. But I think what we saw was that there was so much victimhood in the cliches of rock and roll that we just wanted to avoid all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, of course everyone's made mistakes and done stupid shit. But that's hopefully the least interesting bit about us. And
I think there's also the motivation behind this group is always different. We, coming from Ireland, very small country, growing up during the Troubles, we were forced to kind of think about the role that art and music had beyond simply being a form of entertainment. And, we grew up looking at bands on stage in Dublin like Stiff Little Fingers, who are based in Belfast in the midst of all of the carnage of the Troubles. And at that time, it was said that the solution to the North was 1,000 punk bands.
Oh.
That was one of the things that was said. Now, our other great heroes of that period were the Clash. These were bands that had a different attitude to their work. They saw it not as entertainment. They saw it as a sort of expression that had the potential to do a lot of good if it was focused in the right way. And we always shared that.
All right, and you've always been very outspoken about issues in the world, etc. 43 years, you've evolved, the world's evolved. What are the major changes that you've seen? And at 50, what does U2 look like and what does the world look like?
Well, I'll tell you this: the very heart of what we do is a particularly Indian idea, ahimsa,
Ahimsa.
non-violence.
Yep.
This is the greatest gift that India gave to the world. It's an idea that is more powerful than nuclear energy. It's an idea bigger than the British Empire. It's a more powerful idea than power itself. And I like to think that we are students of Ahimsa. We came across it through Martin Luther King, through John Hume in Ireland, all of them students of Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know if you know this, but Mahatma Gandhi watched Irish independence, studied Irish independence, and offered counsel on Irish independence.
Did he offer counsel on the flag as well? Because both of them are very
Yes,
similar.
they're the same. Well, the Irish constitution influenced your constitution. And an early president of Ireland, Eamon de Valera, he was in consultation with India. So we're a tiny little country, but we haven't colonized the world with anything other than our literature, our
And the
songs,
whiskey.
and some whiskey and some Guinness. We've got some stuff, but we come to the source here. That's the biggest idea in the world, and it's at a time in the world when the world really needs to hear it. So, yeah.
It's a full circle. You come on to the
Yeah.
source. Is your next album called Ahimsa?
It isn't, but it should be. It's the most beautiful word.
Yeah, beautiful.
If it's called Ahimsa, you know where you heard it first.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. This was
Thank
a
you.
wonderful, wonderful chat.
Thank you
it was an
so
honor.
much.
It was a
Thank you
dream.
so much.